welcome everybody here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. My name is Andrew Valentin, and I hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday. We are, of course, coming to you live here from the Illinois Media School here in Lombard, Illinois. Again, wherever it is for you, ladies and gentlemen, dare and I hope it is just right. And with me, as always, is the impeccable, the incredible, the absolutely outstanding Mr. Drew Gwillen with me, ladies and gentlemen. Drew, how you doing, man?
I mean, it's pretty good. I can see myself today.
You can. And what about them graphics, man?
No. Real, they look good.
Absolutely. Shout out to
Turned
our
out
boy,
well.
Ben Anderson, for helping us create those lower thirds there, ladies and gentlemen. That
Excellent.
was absolutely beautiful, wonderful stuff. Thank you again, Ben. We appreciate it. But all things good with you, man? Everything A-okay?
Yeah.
Other than work, I know work's
The usual.
The
just,
usual.
Tired.
I understand that completely. I do.
What are we eating tonight?
It's a good question. I may be going back to Culver's. They've been calling my name, so.
You know what? That actually does sound.
I know, it does.
But I have to.
There's one around here.
I got to go to the hellhole that is Walmart.
Yeah. Well,
after this, so.
There is that too. But Walmart's got always some decent grabs, quick grabs and stuff.
The place is hell.
Okay, fair enough. I was trying to put a good spin on it. You're right.
There's no good. There's zero chance to put a positive spin on grocery shopping. Especially Walmart.
This is true. This is Walmart's a rough. Caputo's I like. They're the one I like.
Okay, here's a PSA to everybody, okay? You notice how when you drive a car, you drive on the right side of the road, correct? Okay, so when you go to a grocery store, think of it the same way, like you're driving something. Stick on the right side, idiots.
Did you have a bad experience?
Every time I go to the grocery store, there's a bad experience. It's not just once, it's not just twice. It's every time. Very few times do I skate in and out, and I'm like, not too bad.
No, I listen, man. I don't know what it is. The last 3 or 4 times I've gone, I always get the woman that's complaining because the coupon expired or this isn't on sale or whatever the case is. It's hell. It really is. You're right. There's no positive spin on grocery
It's
shopping.
just not an enjoyable experience, and it's kind of waste of life, if you ask me.
It really is. It really is. Well, Drew, let's waste no more time then, as it is, because we got a lot to talk about, and I got a feeling this might be interesting. Are you?
Let's do it.
Are you ready to do it?
Let's do it.
Let's do this then, folks. So we're obviously kicking this one off with the Chicago Bears. Unfortunately, they dropped a hard one here, 49-29 final score. Tony Pollard. Is it fair to say that he's just the back now? And can we just say that about him? In Dallas, he's clearly better than Zeke. I know Zeke's dealing with whatever it is, but like Pollard is clearly a much better back than he is through and through. But ultimately, the Bears, they played a pretty decent game. They had their moments, obviously, in this one, and obviously not the result, but nevertheless, there were some good moments out of this. Drew, for you, man, obviously, what did you think of this game? What did you see that you liked? Certainly, obviously, a lot of people were very happy with it in their own right, but I'll let you go first before I have my own say.
Yeah, they lost, but still somehow feels like a victory. Okay. So defense was non-existent, which
that is a problem.
Is what it is. That had something to do with why Pollard had such a good day.
Right.
131 yards on only 14 carries. You could land jumbo jets through those holes.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, he did well, but Eddie Jackson, another interception. Looks like the old Eddie Jackson, back to what they thought they had in him.
Absolutely.
What he got paid for.
The playmaker that they wanted him to be.
For whatever reason, he seems to have turned his game around. Still, every once in a while, likes to try and tackle with his shoulder instead of wrapping up.
Yes.
But it hasn't been that obvious this year.
Right.
The offense. There's offense there. The running game, being able to do what they did running the ball against the Cowboys defense was excellent. Yeah. Awesome. Seeing improvements from Justin Fields. He's progressing. He's not making those same mistakes, it seems like, that he made very early on, looking unsure of what to do. He looks like he has control of the offense out there, and aside from still getting his ass kicked because of offensive line issues, he's looked like the guy that we're hoping him to push towards being more of.
Absolutely.
And adding more weapons, which they have this week, which I know we'll get to in a sec. But just having the opportunity to have another weapon in this group to help him do the things he needs to do. Again, throw the ball. Haven't done a ton of it because they haven't been able to.
Right.
Hopefully this leads to that, being able to do a few more things with this offense. And hell of an improvement from our offensive coordinator as well.
Mm-hmm.
Love what I've seen out of him, improving on what he started with to what he has now, helping the offense kind of work around Justin Fields and what he's able to do now, which we haven't seen a lot in the past. So that's been nice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I can get to it, but obviously, look, from the standpoint of obviously what you can see from the Bears, I will say that there certainly was a lot of improvement there. There's a lot of good things that certainly Bears fans can look at and say, hey, there's growth in the game. There's an opportunity there for this to be able to be going in the right direction, right? Everything, look, we obviously there's still some concerns there for sure. Now Robert Quinn was gone before that. You obviously weren't here. We'll have a chance to talk about that here in a little bit, but obviously not having him on the edge certainly showed a difference, right? They only got 1 sack on Dak. He had a very clean pocket most of the game, and when you have that, you're able to play very well, and he did.
At the same time, Robert Quinn hadn't been doing much this year anyways.
Yes.
So even if he was there, that's not changing the outcome.
Probably
of this
a
game.
non-factor anyway.
Maybe a few more pressures, potentially he gets home, but
Yeah.
he wasn't doing it this year anyways.
Right. And then if you had the chance to get a draft pick, maybe you could have gotten, again, you could have probably, I said before, you weren't here, but I said, look, you could have gotten more in the offseason, but nevertheless.
Right, we talked about that early on. That's when they should have traded him, was in the offseason when his stock was the highest.
Probably could have got a second, maybe a third at the very least, I would say.
I remember specifically talking about packaging to try and move up in the draft.
Yes, yeah, that was, and we'll get into all that stuff, obviously, we will. But, let's get to the big question, because this is going to start some stuff, I feel. So we'll see. But the question it's halfway point, and let me preference, I understand it's very early. A lot of people say this is his rookie season. New coaching staff, new offensive coordinator, a lot of new things being thrown at him with new receivers, all that kind of stuff. I understand that. But I think the question that people can still ask is whether or not they feel that at this point right now, if Justin Fields is the guy. Because as we've seen, he's had his good moments, and it certainly seems like now, especially, you can see that he's starting to make plays and make good decisions down the line with the Bears, whereas obviously in the early parts of it, it was very much a struggle. But with that all being said, obviously with where Justin Fields is at right now, Drew, I ask you this, knowing it's second year in, halfway through, there's still so much more that needs to be done with this team. But do you look at Justin Fields and do you think that he can be the guy, the franchise quarterback, the player that can maybe take the Bears to that next level? Do you see him as being that guy?
Do I think he can be? Yes, I do think he can be the Bears franchise quarterback. I think he's progressing to that point. Mm-hmm. It's still a long way to go.
Right, of course.
Do I think he's there now? No. Do I think we know now that he's the franchise quarterback? No.
Yeah.
And we're not going to know. We may not fully know after this year. There might still be some questions. Mm-hmm. But again, after the season, improve on the offensive line, maybe get another weapon in the draft.
Right.
And then maybe you have something there. More time for him to run through his progressions, make his reads. He's improved game through the last handful of games where we've seen the progress, the eye test by watching. You see things changing, things getting better. And that's what you like to see. So I think he can be. I just think it's still going to take more time. And again, with adding another weapon to this team, it's going to help things big time.
Okay. All right. Again, I put this out on Twitter. I thought that, as much as we always want to blame everything that goes on around the Bears, I just don't see Justin Fields right now as being the guy. Now, I didn't say right now. I should have preferenced it with right now. That's maybe on my fault. I don't have enough space to type, whatever it is. Nevertheless, as where it stands right now, I don't think Justin Fields is the guy. Unfortunately, when I look at him, I equate it to kind of like obviously this is way out of left field, if you will, but it's like in a movie, right? Do you have a leading actor? Do you have a supporting actor? And Dustin of the Fake Football Guys, Lingaman, kind of came after me because he thought I didn't know what I was talking about. And it's just simply that I don't think he is necessarily the guy that's going to take over a game and change everything for you. He could just be, at this point, Jimmy Garoppolo with legs is what I equated him to. Where Jimmy Garoppolo is a guy that I feel like he can kind of do the things to help your team get down the field, but he's not necessarily a guy that you want to put the ball in his hands in the fourth quarter and say, like, it's your game.
Why do you think that?
It's looking at his passing, everything that I see right now with his game. Obviously, he can make those throws, but it's the throwing over guys, the off targets, it's rushing out of the pocket. And again, I know these are things that obviously he can't control everything, but it's also, it's just realizing that at some point you kind of have to stay in the pocket the best that you can and try and make every throw possible. Now, that's not the bulk of the thing. I understand he can't help it. The offensive line's terrible, whatever the case is. But
right, and clearly when he does have time, you're seeing that improvement. He's finding those open guys where he had missed them early on. And
again, I understand the receivers are bad, but
not getting open, which leads to why he had the most time before he threw the ball in the league, was because nobody was getting open. He had to stick back there and wait for guys to try and get open and then scramble some. Where before he was taking a ton of sacks, now those opportunities aren't there, and he's taking off, and he's getting you, and he's running for first downs.
Yeah, absolutely. I would like to see him be more comfortable at being able to throw, get in a rhythm with his receivers. I understand there's all that other extra stuff going on, but the best quarterbacks are the ones that I think can always manage to overcome those difficulties. You know, again, there's a lot of difficulties with this team, but there have been guys. I mean, Peyton Manning was one, and I know you can say, oh, well, you know, look at the difference on him. Well, you know, Peyton Manning could have easily just have been a bust if they wouldn't have gotten him, obviously, help. Yeah, sure, but he was still able to overcome, I think, some of the little differences that happened in Indiana in the first couple of years, and then came on the help with Marvin Harrison and all that. Now, obviously, Peyton Manning, they're talking about a completely different kind of quarterback. And the other thing is, too, is that let's say the Bears do spend all this money. Is Justin Fields going to be the guy that potentially makes the team different because of all the pieces they get him, or are all the pieces going to make him that much better? Because if you look at San Francisco right now, would you say that Jimmy Garoppolo is really the biggest difference maker in that team? You could make that argument, certainly, and I can understand where people could. But I would say that having guys like Debo and now Christian McCaffrey and Trent Williams and all those guys around him now have really been the difference makers for his game. And that's just where I come from. And look, I have said this. I also say that if I'm wrong about Justin Fields, that he's not going to be the guy going down the line, he's not going to be the franchise quarterback, I will eat my words. I said I'll wear a jersey with him every Sunday that it says Justin Fields on my back.
How many NFL quarterbacks out of the 32 starters would you say are that guy, hands down, no doubt, can do it all on their own and don't need all the talent in the world to have success?
I would say probably like a handful.
Yes.
And I understand that is obviously, you're not going to find Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. Those guys are impossible to find. You're not finding another Aaron Rodgers. And I understand that.
The fact that he has the talent and that potential, and you're seeing the improvement of being like one of those guys, like a Josh Allen.
Yeah.
Josh Allen does the same kinds of things. Justin Fields has a strong arm like Josh Allen. Am I comparing them, saying they're anywhere close? No, they are not. But he has the potential to be like that and play like that.
Yeah.
And you're seeing some of the things you saw out of Josh Allen early on. Okay, maybe quicker to the run because not a ton of talent and guys aren't getting open. What did they do? They went out and got Stephon Diggs, got him that number one. Mm-hmm. Then they have are drafting players and bringing other players in to complement what they had with their number one wide receiver and Josh Allen.
Yeah. No.
Again, this team has to find that number one still.
Absolutely.
But I think with those things around him, because those players help make Josh Allen what he is now. Just like everybody, it's not a football team without the rest of the players.
Absolutely.
So like nobody in the NFL is really doing it on their own. It's just there's only a small amount of guys at that position that could do it without a ton of talent around him.
No, and I don't disagree with that. It's just from what I see from him, at least to this point, I need to see more. I will give him. I said I'll give him the rest of the year if he continues to show the improvement that he has, and going into next year with that, the other hope is that the Bears will spend the money. I would say that Brian Poles is a good enough GM to understand that you need to spend money to put this team together. We would hope that. That's my fear, though, is that they're not going to spend the way that they should, right? I mean, don't spend every dime, but, don't spend with the opportunity to say, oh, well, we need to save some over for in case Justin Fields bursts open. Like, get him the talent, see what he can do with said talent, because if he doesn't produce more with that talent, then you know where you're at with him at quarterback. And that's why I've said, don't take a guy in the first round. I said Hendon Hooker. I don't think he's going to be there for the Bears to take. But take a guy that obviously has the similar qualities to Justin Fields so the offense doesn't have to change necessarily. It's not competition. It's simply a backup that you can have behind him so the offense doesn't have to change drastically. And it's a young guy like a Bailey Zappi who you can kind of have some trust in. That's what I would say.
I'm okay. I don't know how thrilled I would be if they used a 4th-round pick on a quarterback when there are so many needs everywhere else.
I understand that, yeah.
And you're not seeing a total dud.
Right.
You're not seeing a total bust. You're not seeing that.
Right.
You're seeing improvement. You're seeing the talent from this guy. One thing I think we know about Poles so far is that he's sticking to his plan and he's going with that.
Yeah.
And he's heading straight forward with it.
Yeah.
And again, we're not going to know whether that plan is going to work for another year or maybe 2. But we're going to find out.
Yeah, and we will see. And listen, I'll say this again. If I'm wrong about the guy, I will fully.
I'm going to feed you
He's
crow.
going to tell me, yeah.
Yeah, I'll let him hear
admit
it.
that if I'm wrong on the guy, it's just right now where I sit, I can't say if he's the guy, if he's the franchise quarterback. But if he proves me wrong, I will totally say I'm wrong. I'm not afraid to admit it.
Right here at this desk, I give him hell every week for blowing off Michigan and
you play Rutgers.
Blowing off Michigan. I give him hell every week. I will promise you all, I will give him hell for this.
Okay, if Rutgers beats Michigan, then we'll talk. Then I'll put him back on, okay? Do you think that's going to happen?
5? It's crap. That stupid committee.
We'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay?
5?
Drew's not happy with the college football playoff rankings, so
we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. Well, listen, let's get to some of the stuff that happened, obviously, with the Bears. Depending on how you look at it, it could have been a win-win day or a lose-win day, however you want to see it. It all depends, I guess, on your viewership. But obviously, if you didn't know the news, Roquan Smith was traded on Monday from the Bears to the Ravens. The trading consists of a 2023 second and 5th-round draft pick. The Bears are also going to be paying most of his salary up front, but the Ravens will take on what's left, which is just under $1 million. Yay. But on top of that, too, they also then used their own 2nd-round pick to acquire some help for Justin Fields, which came in the form of Pittsburgh wide receiver Chase Claypool. You probably thought I was going to say Pickens. No, we had a chance to draft him, but we didn't. Or they didn't, excuse me.
They like Pickens.
They like Pickens a lot, and I can see why. But we'll look good in orange and blue, though. But either way, it's Chase Claypool, big target, obviously, was a 2nd-round pick by the Steelers, so they're kind of getting that compensation back. Drew, what did you think about the trade of Roquan and the acquisition of Chase Claypool for the Bears kind of going forward from here on in?
I think you kind of saw the writing on the wall at the beginning of the season when they couldn't come to terms on a deal, and they clearly didn't value him at what he valued himself at.
Yeah. So
because of that, this is kind of your only option.
Yeah, I don't see where else there's no other impasse.
You can't let him leave for nothing and get nothing back for him. Okay? So I'm fine with it. I kind of knew it was I figured it was coming. Mm-hmm. I kind of really knew that Robert Quinn was going to get dealt, and then
we've been talking about that for a while, that Robert Quinn was going to be probably the first one to go. Just wasn't sure about what Roquan was going to do. That was the only thing.
Right. Were they going to come to terms on a deal some point throughout the season?
Yes.
They still couldn't. Okay? And I get it. It makes sense. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
Very good player. Mm-hmm. It's going to hurt to lose him.
Absolutely.
At the same time, I'm not going to overpay for a position that doesn't require that high of a salary, let's say.
Not anymore.
That you can find a player that gets a lot of tackles elsewhere.
Right.
You pay up for pass rushers, corners, not for an off-ball linebacker.
No. Not in this system, absolutely not.
Exactly. And I heard Eberflus on the radio today, or he was talking to the media, and they asked him about if they if they valued him the same as Shaq Leonard, and he said no, basically no, not the same value.
No.
And when they were picking, if Quentin Nelson wasn't on the board when he was their defensive coordinator, if they had talks about Roquan Smith at their pick, which was like 8, I think, and Bears had a few later.
I think it was Nelson was 6 or something like that, and then 8th. Yes, Roquan was 8th. Yes.
Yeah.
So there was 2 picks after.
So and then Eberflus said no, they had no talk of picking an off-ball linebacker that high in the draft.
There you go. I mean, that kind of says it.
That sums up how they felt about paying him that much. Obviously, since they traded him. So
right.
I'm fine with them getting what they could for him. Still getting a linebacker back in return, a veteran player who started.
AJ Klein.
Yeah, so somebody that can come in, fill the need, and pick up where he left off.
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. And that's the thing is, like, listen, all the respect to Roquan, he was leading the league in tackles and all that stuff, but it's clear that where Baltimore's at, they need help on defense, and he fits a need that they needed, right? They needed somebody to help stuff the middle because they didn't have – their corners have been playing off. He's a great guy for them that'll be able to play that middle linebacker position with Patrick Queen. Queen's allowed to blitz now. They got a guy that can just sit there and stop the run and be able to play back on coverage and stuff. For the Bears, it gives them another second-round pick. Well, now their only second-round pick. But then it gives them an extra 5th. They get more draft picks. Like you said, they get A.J. Klein. And Klein's not a bad linebacker. He's actually a pretty decent guy. He's just not a guy that people necessarily would throw into the conversation of top linebackers. I understand that. But he's a guy that makes a lot of plays. He's very heads up and smart and can fill in that outside or inside need however you want to play him. So that's big and important.
This is, not everyone's going to like the moves that they're making, but this is what a rebuild looks like.
I mean, look, I'm never one to say I was right, but I think I was right. So, but obviously, I mean, Chase Claypool.
At first, I was like, damn it. Damn it.
That's the reaction I think a lot of people had. And I think it's probably more so maybe because he was from a certain school.
That had something to do with it.
I was going to say, I'm like, maybe not the full thing, but I certainly know there's a little bit that's like, he's from that.
Oh, now him and Cole Kmet can have slumber parties and sleepovers together. Cool. Just like back in college.
Best of friends, back together. But what were your thoughts for the Chase Claypool move? Obviously,
like I said,
pretty surprising.
I mean, I was surprised. I knew there was talk out there. Not a lot of noise, but I had heard some noise of potential for Claypool.
I heard Kendrick Bourne constantly.
So did
it was going to cost nothing to get him. They just wanted him off their books in New England. And I would have been okay with that because it's like dead cheap hands, whatever.
No. There's no point in giving up anything for a guy like Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah.
None. This one, as much as at first I said, damn it.
Yeah.
Thinking about the issues that he's had in Pittsburgh, okay? He's had somewhat of an attitude issue there. Maybe not always the best teammate.
Yeah.
He's had some drop problems. At the same time, he's had moments of excellence.
Absolutely.
He is a very big guy. He's very fast, and he can jump.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what you need
Yeah.
for a young quarterback, is someone that hopefully he can trust. Hopefully he works out his drop issues, and because he's made some spectacular catches.
Oh, absolutely. This is a guy that's a size. He literally played tight end in college, moved to receiver because he was so fast, and now can play kind of on the outside. I mean, he's pretty quick for his size.
So he played on the outside his first year, I believe.
His rookie year.
And they've been using him in the slot a lot this past season, where he's been down.
Absolutely.
So put him back in that outside role with this team. We'll see.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a good addition, and at the same time, I believe he was drafted in the first round.
No,
Maybe
second round.
one?
I think it was the second
Second
round they picked him up.
He's a young player. He's a very, very good talent. That's kind of where you use these picks.
Yeah.
Okay. So for them to still have a second rounder, I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. Now go out and show us that you deserve to be a hopefully number 2 wide receiver on this team going forward.
I mean, hopefully. I got sent a clip from somebody of Perkins and Spiegel talking about the move, and Parkins brought up a good point that this felt like a little bit of a nervous move made possibly by Poles, considering the fact that you had, I mean, we've talked about this at length now. You could have drafted Pickens or one of these other receivers in the second round.
Right.
You didn't. So now it costs you a second rounder to get a guy like Claypool, which is not a bad get, I don't think. But you're getting him for about, I think, a year and a half now of what's left on his deal, right? He's got the rest of the season and then all of next year, and you have him for that. So you hope that he can untap that potential that might be there for him to be a legit wide receiver. But it's also, I think, a reaction to the fact that, because I took a look at it, the free agent class this year is not as good as we believe it to be.
No, it's terrible. The top one is like Nelson Aguilar.
The top guy right now, as far as I've seen ranked, happens to be Jacoby Meyer. This is coming from NFLTradeRumors.co. So take that for what it is.
One, I don't think he's going anywhere.
No, I think they're keeping him because...
Two, like, because of that reason... And I think if you had gotten a 100% honest answer from Ryan Poles, I think he would honestly admit that not taking one of those wide receivers in the draft was a mistake.
Yeah.
So this is maybe some correcting that.
That's what it feels like.
And somewhat of a correction of that, full well knowing that this free agent class is not very good.
Yeah, because other names, I'm not going to go through the whole list, but the other top names, this is the top 100, mind you, the top 100 free agents of the receivers. You've got Mecole Hardman, Allen Lazard, Juju Smith-Schuster, Olamide Zaccheaus, I think is how you say his name. Zaccheaus. God, I always butcher that. Jeez. DJ Chark, Nelson Aguilar, Jarvis Landry, which I don't think would be necessarily a bad pickup if you're talking about a slot receiver or a fourth guy in. But the only other guy on here would be then Randall Cobb.
No.
And if you look at all those names, every one of those guys are third string guys or fourth string guys, or like Allen Lazard's the only one that's getting number 1 experience, and that's because there's no one else to take that mantle. He's the only guy that really makes sense to be a number 1 in Green Bay because Sammy Watkins gets hurt, Randall Cobb's dealing with injuries, and nobody else really has the chemistry with Aaron Rodgers like Lazard does. So it's a barren wasteland of receivers. So that's why I just say it feels like this was just a move just to kind of be like, oh, I made a mistake. We need to get somebody. And let me go to the team that took the guy that it feels like we should have probably taken, and instead we'll get the offhanded guy because he's replacing him at this point.
Yes.
Which I think is funny, the fact that Claypool is like, I think he could be one of the top receivers in this league, the offensive rookie of the year, and it's like, yeah, but that means then he's replacing you, dude, and sure enough, he's replaced him. So I don't think it's a bad move. I joked and said maybe if he moved to tight end because Cole Kmet's been awful at this point. That's another guy. I don't understand why he didn't get moved, or a guy like Montgomery, why those guys weren't moved. Maybe there's still plans for them.
I think probably because you're not going to get a ton for Montgomery. You're not going to get something. You're not going to get much value for a guy like that.
Right. But I would have thought maybe like a 5th or even a 6th would have been something that would have been culpable, because now you're letting him go for free. You're not getting anything back unless
franchise tag.
Yeah, you could possibly bring him back. You could possibly bring him back.
They could bring him back for cheaper. Who knows? Maybe he wants to stay.
He hasn't said anything, so he hasn't complained. He's done his job.
Depending what the tag number is for running backs, it's a possibility.
Yeah, I think it's pretty high right now, thanks to Mr. Derrick Henry over there in Tennessee. So, but either way, I think maybe they've got plans to keep him around. Maybe he wants to stay on a cheaper deal. Because right now, I would say Khalil Herbert just fits what they need in a running back, a guy who can kind of do a little bit of everything, that speed and ability to kind of jump into the hole and pop out.
He's been doing more.
He's been absolutely great. But look, obviously, the Bears, they've got a long road to go. You know, there's still so many games to play, but there's a good chance, who knows, they might be able to surprise a few people here and there. They've got opportunities, but there's a lot of big games still coming up, one of which is this game against the Miami Dolphins. Now, Miami's coming up here into the north to play against the Bears, but they're still favored by a good, 5 points. And the over-under is at 45.5. So, Drew, Miami looked like they were on cruise control there. They were able to come back against the Lions. And the Bears, unfortunately, dropped that to the Cowboys. But how do you see this one going against Miami here in Chicago?
Miami's going to take it.
Okay.
I still think they're, even if they got in a shootout, Miami still has more firepower. A lot more firepower.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Miami by 12.
Okay.
I think it's fairly convincing again this week, but still, again, like with the Cowboys' loss, still felt pretty good coming out of what that loss was. I feel like this could be the same thing. Still lose fairly handily and still come out feeling pretty good about what you saw from the team. And again, hopefully this offense, Miami's defense, while they have great players, they haven't played well this year. Yes, they're going to add Bradley Chubb to that, which is going to make things difficult. But I still think the Bears can put us some points on this, so I'm going to take the over.
Okay. All right. I like that. I'll take Miami. Even though it's coming up here to the north and it's on the grass and everything, the speed that team plays with is insane. I'll say this right now. I think Tua is the guy in Miami.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I knew it.
What?
I think Tua is the guy in Miami.
Wait, one more time.
Tua is the guy in Miami.
Wow, I can't believe it. Everyone else has to be shocked too.
He fits what they're doing.
Why do you still hate him then?
Yeah, I never hated him. I just thought he had low ceiling potential. But look, if Tua, I think Tua is a lot of building the system around him, and this is where if they can do it with Tua, they can certainly do it with Justin. And because I think Justin can be a way better quarterback than Tua is. So maybe if that's the case, then I eat my words on Justin Fields. Then so there you go.
Well, if you think Tua's the guy,
yeah,
and you think Justin Fields can be way better, then wouldn't that make Justin Fields the guy?
I guess we'll see.
TJ, he's making no sense.
Yeah, I'm making no sense.
Cut his mic.
All right, you can. Yeah, all right.
What?
We don't have to fight about this now, please. You can beat me up later. I'm taking Miami.
Making my head spin.
I know. Well, that's what you know what? Tom's not here. I got to do it to at least one person because you know how long I had it done to me? Long time.
All right.
I'm sorry, Drew. I'll buy you a drink afterwards. How about that?
Food.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll get you a sandwich.
Me want food.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Miami Dolphins on this as well. I'll take them by I'm gonna take them by 10, I think. Just because the way they're able to move so fast and stuff. And credit goes to Mike McDaniel. He's done a great job designing that offense too. And now they've added in a few pieces there as well. So that should be an interesting see how they're gonna work into this too. So yeah, Miami by 10, and I'll take the over on this. I think the Bears can certainly put up some points. They're a really good run game. I like what Luke Getsy's doing. I think he's got the keys to the offense right now, and I think it goes to prove that maybe he was the actual brainchild in Green Bay and not Nathaniel Hackett, because that thing in Denver looks brutal.
Yeah.
I mean, even that London game did not look good.
He is struggling.
That's why I think Nathaniel Hackett might have just been the man in front while Luke Getsy was like, okay, this is how the offense is going to work.
Yeah.
I think the Bears made a smart move not hiring Hackett.
I'm just glad it went the way it did.
Yeah, it's work. You know what? It's working, and that's what you want to see. That's what you want to see. Real quick before we get out of here, B-Mac had a lot to say. Apologies, B-Mac. We were focused on me being wrong as usual. B-Mac said Josh Allen went through the same type of trajectory that Fields is going through right now. Fair enough. Allen's first 2 years in the league, he was being called a terrible quarterback who would never be an elite QB in the league because he was making more plays with his legs than his arm. That's fair. That's true. I didn't call him a bad quarterback. Just pointing that out. I didn't do it, but I know a lot of people in the media did. At the very least, I think Fields has shown enough to grow so far, or that if the Bears finish with the number 1 pick, they won't be drafting a quarterback and instead trading back for more picks. I would hope so. This is a draft where right now, if you're looking at him, I would say keep him still. Keep him for next year. If you get a top 5 pick, trade back and get more picks. Because it worked for the Eagles, it worked for the Dolphins, it's working for everybody else. Do that. It works. To help put more weapons around Fields to truly prove that he is or isn't the guy. That's yes. And then he also went on to say for the receiver stuff, he said Juju and Chark have the most potential from the list, but I wouldn't want them spending. But wouldn't want them spending on any of them. So I'm good with Claypool for that reason alone. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, and you never know. Some guys may not be able to come to an agreement on a deal in the restricted free agent, and that may be the Bears' opportunity to jump in.
See, me and B-Mag are on the same page. What's your deal?
I got to be the outsider, man.
Okay.
I want to be an instigator. That's listen. I will watch. I hope he does do good, but I don't know right now. I don't know. I'm siding with I don't think he's the guy, but if he is, I will eat my words. Okay, folks? Or just say I'm wrong. You guys say I'm wrong all the time anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Your contradiction is confusing me.
Good.
I'm so confused with what you mean.
So you're not thinking about the Michigan stuff anymore?
Oh, no, I'll get there.
Okay. Well, that's for tomorrow.
5?
Well, we'll talk about that tomorrow because, folks, when we do come back here, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be discussing more NFL news. Shocking, a team is under investigation, and, of course, what happened at the deadline that's coming up next here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.
Throughout the 1960s, 70s, and 80s, Judy Finelli established herself as a masterful juggler and performer, making appearances everywhere from Carnegie Hall to Sesame Street. With her loving heart, she has brought warm smiles to children everywhere she has performed. She even started the San Francisco School for the Circus Arts, but shortly after, she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and by 2004, she was completely paralyzed. In celebration of her accomplishments and to fight the illness that had crippled Judy, a group of students from the San Francisco Clown College have compiled the perfect holiday present for those who want to laugh and to help those struggling with the illness. The goal has been set at $1 million raised, with 100% of any dollar made to be donated to the Judy Finelli Fund, which is helping find a cure to multiple sclerosis. Visit www.circuscenter.org to make a donation or to purchase a framed Naked Clown photo or the full Naked Clown 12-month calendar. Remember, 100% of every dollar is donated and goes to fighting MS.
And welcome back, everybody, here to the X-Bomb Sports Live Show. I am, of course, your host, Andrew Valentin, the man that just completely drives Drew insane. And with me, of course, is Drew Gullum as well here, ladies and gentlemen.
That bomb?
Yeah.
It's my head.
Hey, man, at least I'm not Cameron up here talking about go Florida, all right? So
man.
It could be a lot worse. Just remember that. It could be a lot worse.
Touché.
Well, Drew, are you ready to get into more of this, my friend? Because we have more news going on here.
Yes and no.
Okay. I know it's stuff we've talked immensely about, but folks, here we go. We're starting this one off with, if you haven't heard, the breaking news broke this morning that the Washington Commanders, Daniel Snyder and his wife, have officially hired Bank of America Securities to begin looking at potential transactions for the team. So they are now officially looking for, I guess, a chance to see how much the value of the team is at and potentially sell. So good news, I think, for all of us that we could potentially see the Washington Commanders officially finally change hands from one owner to the next. But more news has apparently come out as we have officially heard that the government is filing criminal investigations against the Washington Commanders Corporation, or the franchise as a whole.
Look, Fed's looking into their finances.
Against financial improprieties about their whole bookkeeping method and everything, about the alleged some $5 million they may have kept in a secret book or so. Drew, I mean, we've talked about this kind of stuff at length with Washington and all that stuff. But, I mean, give me your overall reaction on the fact that he's making this sale, and now news just breaks about an hour or so ago that they were under investigation now in criminal charges. What are your thoughts on all of this?
Shame, shame, shame. Shame you, Snyder. You piece of garbage.
Hey, that's what I was saying.
You piece of garbage. He's a shameful human being. Disgusting human being. I mean, very, very not surprising that he's trying to sell now that it's like, oh, we might be investigated.
How interesting that he sells. First story comes out that he sells, which is literally the first story on ESPN and every other article. And then the next one is, oh, by the way, they're under investigation for financial proprieties.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Funny how those two line up.
Yeah.
How convenient. Very convenient. That just shows the snaky nature of the man in charge.
Absolutely.
And it's about time. And I'm very hopeful that either this dude ends up in jail where he belongs for all the wrongdoings he's done, or completely out of the NFL and we never have to hear from him again.
I totally agree. At this point, I honestly think if there was any truth to that whole situation of, hey, I've got dirt on the other owners, I get a feeling that the other owners were just like, you know what? Let's see what you got, Snyder. And he's like, oh, no, they're calling my bluff. And it's like, by the way, while you're trying to dig up the dirt on us, we're also going to put a vote together. So you may want to get ready to start moving because moving day will be coming sooner than you think. So now instead of just being voted out and having to be forced to sell the team, he'd rather just try and save face potentially and be the good guy, sell it himself, and then he doesn't have to look like the bad guy in his eyes. I think we already know he's probably one of the scummiest owners, maybe.
I don't think there's anything he can do at this point to change the appearance of.
You could buy a farm full of puppies and kittens and saved horses, and I don't think it would be enough. You could save a whole bunch of human beings in a third world country and give them all the food in the world, which you could with all your billions. But that wouldn't be enough. There's not enough good humanity, I think, for him to do that could save him at this point. I think he's pretty much done. And
nor do I think he would even want to.
No, he's on a yacht somewhere in the middle of Giflanistan or whatever because he's in international waters. Because I think he's hiding. Because I think he knows if he gets caught with some stuff, he's like, I don't want to go back to the U.S., so he's just gonna run stuff from his ship or something. This is all alleged, of course, but even still, everything adding up to this point, it just doesn't seem like it's going to go good for Daniel Snyder. So whatever. It is what it is. The fact that this story even broke just hours after he was like, I'm going to sell the team. It's just it just fits. It just very much fits what the Washington Commanders are. And what's shocking is that they're 4-4 and in a position to make the playoffs. And they still got to deal with this crud. Like, that's incredible. That's incredible. That is incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Incredible.
Absolutely. All right, let's move on. Let's move on though to the other part of this, the fun part. So the deadline did happen. There were
wild.
This was the most active deadline I think we've seen
by 5 trades, I think.
Yeah, something like that. This was insane how many moves were happening. I mean, incredible stuff, big moves too, stuff that can really help these teams out getting better. But Drew, I mean, for what you saw from all these deals that happened, what deals did you like? What deals did you not think made a lot of sense? You know, where would you stand a lot with the deadline and some of these moves?
Minnesota going to get Hawkinson.
You didn't see that one happening?
No. Not even a thought.
I didn't. Yeah, who would have thunk, honestly, anybody.
But makes sense because right after that, you hear their tight end is down for 6 to 10 weeks with a high ankle sprain, possibly needing surgery.
Yeah.
So they're 6-1?
Yeah, 6-1 right now.
And are cruising through this division. Going to make the playoffs. Got to go get that other weapon to try and help you get over the hump.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chubb was Miami landing Chubb as a pass rusher. They needed help there. That's a big-time player.
Yeah.
And when you have all the offense you could need, what do? Go get some defense. Okay? And I heard someone else say this, and it makes a lot of sense. You're seeing a lot of that LA Rams type of formula here this year of trade those picks away, go get that player when you're that close.
Right, absolutely.
And a lot of teams have done that. Obviously not this year, but Ridley to Jacksonville. If he can
did not see that coming, and nobody did.
But because
you forget he's there
again. Because probably most teams are thinking, "Oh, wait till the end of the season,
right?" And then we'll talk.
And then we'll talk about it and figure it out. Well, they just jumped ahead of the game and beat everybody to the punch.
That was such a smart move, honestly.
Yeah, I think Naheem Hines can be a nice weapon out of the backfield.
I think that was they needed to move for a running back, whether it was Montgomery or Hines. I heard a lot talk with possibly Kamara, of course, but they were rebuffed on that. They didn't offer enough. And then I even heard Kareem Hunt was a guy because they were only asking for a fourth. I think it was.
I wish.
But they said, I guess they wanted from the Bills, they wanted to get either like something that compensated to being like a second, either their second or something that combined to be a second round pick by value. And the Bills didn't want to give that up. I understand that. The Kamara thing was they wanted a first round pick. But they weren't going to do that because the whole Eagles thing was they want their first round pick back for Kamara. But the Eagles are like, no, we're keeping that pick. We're not giving you that pick just to take on another running back. No, thank you. So, but the Ridley thing, I think probably was one of the smartest moves of the day. I think, in my opinion, that's a move for next year. Like you said, that you're talking about. With the growth you're seeing from Christian Kirk, adding Calvin Ridley now as being the number one guy, that's something for Trevor Lawrence to look forward to for sure. And I don't think he's played really bad either. I think he's done decent.
Right.
I think it's just, it's Jacksonville's just, kind of in a bad state and it's in a bad division against a lot of teams that have some decent defenses that can get after him. So, and
again, they've had head coaches and GMs put them in bad positions as well.
Absolutely. And Doug Peterson looks like he knows what he's doing.
Right.
So I give him and Doug Peterson's a proven name too. So, the Hockenson thing, it's a good move. Give him a solid number 3 receiver now, a guy he can throw the ball to underneath. I mean, if Thielen gets hurt again, this is a guy you can kind of be more dependable, I think, with. Kind of Kyle Rudolph-esque in a lot of ways.
I think much better.
Yeah, I would say.
Much better talent.
Yeah. He's certainly more versatile as a receiver, I would think, than Rudolph was certainly more of a block. That's the difference between tight ends from Iowa and tight ends from Notre Dame. Tight ends from Iowa really do take over the league. Tight ends from Notre Dame, they don't really do a lot.
They play like crap. They block. That's what they do.
That's very true. That's very true. Hopefully this Michael Mayer guy coming up next is better because I got to tell you, Brock Bowers from Georgia, I draft him number 1 overall. Kid's insane. But yeah, I mean, I think the Wilson Jr. trade was one that kind of I thought was interesting, going to Miami. Get you the backup to the guy he was backing up in San Francisco. They like each other. They're friends. They trust each other.
Makes sense for both sides. Yeah. Go to a comfortable position with your old offensive coordinator.
Your old coach. He was the running coach.
Yeah. And San Francisco getting Elijah Mitchell back soon. There's not going to be a big role for him.
Right. He's going to be subjugated to being the third guy and fourth guy in potentially.
Especially with McCaffrey there.
Yes, exactly. So
God, he's ridiculous.
He is quite the little weapon. So, this trade deadline was obviously pretty incredible. It was great to see a lot of these moves. We'll see how much they make a difference. I mean, I will say one that really kind of snuck under the radar that I think might be pretty decent was also the Jackson III move to Pittsburgh. Get them another cornerback. They're getting TJ Watt back. There's a good chance now the defense is upgraded enough where now they can get the ball back for Kenny Pickett to make some strides. We'll see. But certainly, fun trade deadline. Overall, I would give this one an A- for the work that was being put in. I mean, every hour there was like a new deal coming through. It was a lot of fun to watch. Any grade for it, Drew, or just had a lot of fun with this trade deadline?
No grades.
No grades.
But it was fun.
It was
and exciting. I wish a few more of my fantasy players would have got traded in better situations.
I mean, I had Antonio Gibson. I was so hoping he would go to somewhere that he
I
would
was
be number
like
one.
hoping and praying Kareem Hunt would get traded. I'm like, come on, please. Please go to somebody that needs a running back.
From what I heard, the Buffalo thing was
That would
very
have been
close.
amazing.
It was very close.
That would have been amazing.
But I think the Nyheim Hines thing, come on.
I mean,
Josh Allen can't run the ball all the time. You got to let him.
no, I think he's more of a pass catcher.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. Him, Devin Singletary, James Cook. God, Buffalo's really good. God, they're good. It would have been a lot better, though, with Kareem Hunt. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Would have been unstoppable with Alvin Kamara, but Jesus.
Oh.
Super Bowl favorites? I would have said so.
Filthy.
Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the Washington Commanders. What'd you think? Do you think Daniel Snyder is really the devil reincarnated? Do you think that Washington should just sink into the sea? Let us know. What did you think about the trade deadline? Who do you think should have been traded that wasn't traded? What did you think about some of these trades? Comment below. Let us know. We want to hear from you guys on those as well. And when we do come back, folks, it's time to do the recap. And, of course, the Pick Six right here on the X-Bomb Sports Live Show.
One? You're on. Why are you laughing? You
Hey,
got to be ready for this.
welcome,
We're
everybody.
professionals.
Everybody here to the X-Bomb Sports. Are we? Welcome everybody here to the X-Bomb
Professionals
Sports
have
Live
fun,
Show.
too.
Yeah, they do. They do. We have a lot of fun here on the show. I'm still Andrew Valentin. I'm still here with Drew Quillem. And Drew, it's time, as we always do. It's the NFL recap, as usual. Time to look at the top 10 games of the week. And there were some doozies in this one. I have to say, there were some pretty nice games in here. Fun to watch. Obviously, if you're a fantasy football player, such as this idiot right here, who had 93 points sitting on his bench, because Tyler Algier and Antonio Gibson and Garrett Wilson and all those guys just seemed to go off. Why would anybody not tell me that Corey Davis was hurt? All right, Drew, what you think?
It's okay. I think I had like 63 points total.
Oh, and I left Evan Ingram on the bench, too. And I had Tyler Higbee. Thanks, Higbee!
Yeah, he's a bum. I have him, too.
I already dropped Darren Waller, so.
What?
Yeah, I know. I got sick of him. I
Okay.
couldn't do it. Well, you know what
What
league.
the
You know
hell
what
is
league
wrong?
I'm in. I'm in the league with. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
Oh.
I don't have to worry too much.
Okay.
All right.
People who don't know anything about fantasy football. Clearly.
What did you think about this week's games, Drew?
Okay, Tampa looks like complete crap. I don't know
It's
what's
rough.
going on with that team,
Yeah.
but they do not look good all the way around.
No.
All the way around. Oh man, Carolina looking rejuvenated until a bonehead move by one of your veteran players.
Oh, that was
best
rough.
player on your team now. You make a hell of a catch and then you just do something stupid.
Yeah.
Cost his team.
Absolutely.
Let's see. I mean, Minnesota, Arizona, fairly close game there. Unfortunately, Minnesota won. But
I understand that.
Washington looks better with Heineke at quarterback.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz is not.
I think
he's not a
Heineke
starting.
just has the trust of the team behind him.
And I feel like he's a better player. He plays
Might
better.
be, yeah.
I feel like that's proof.
Yeah.
I feel like he's won more than Carson Wentz has.
Well, he throws to
Yeah.
your best receiver. I mean, you paid for the guy. You might as well use him.
Right.
So.
Cleveland just slapping the hell out of Cincinnati was a surprise to me. I did not see that coming
You and me
at
both.
all.
Yeah.
After what Burrow, even with Jamar Chase out, they
Yeah.
still have T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd,
Yeah.
who are very, very, very good wide receivers.
Absolutely, yeah. And not to mention Joe Mixon in the backfield.
Right. So to see them get beat that bad after the week they had prior, a big surprise.
Yeah.
Biggest surprise, one of the biggest surprises of the season, the Seattle Seahawks. Playing the way they are, winning the way they are, and
I don't understand it.
they're better on both sides of the ball than anybody ever pegged. That team was pegged to be like, oh, they're going to have a top 3 pick.
They were supposed to be tanking, and yet...
And they're winning.
Yeah, they're winning their division.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense.
This is a playoff team right now.
Yeah, they have...
With Geno Smith at quarterback. Don't get me wrong, he's earned it. But it's Geno Smith.
I mean, I guess the Jets really did a number on him. Jeez.
The Jets seem to do a number on a lot of people.
That's true.
Not so much anymore.
Well,
going forward,
Zach
I think
Wilson,
okay.
I don't know. He's another one I don't know about, but
organization's headed in a better direction.
yeah, I would say Robert Saleh looks like he is the guy that can do it for him as a coach, so I'll give him that. Yeah, I will admit Bengals look bad. They look bad. Joe looked better at the end, but at the end, what are you going to do? There wasn't anything to really win at that point. It was meaningless touchdowns at that point. I can't explain Seattle. Tariq Woolen might be one of the best cornerbacks in the league. That guy's insane with how he plays receivers. And their offensive line actually looks good. I don't get it. And Kenneth Walker, by the way, is insane. Kid is nuts. And they're going to break him if they keep running the ball with him. That's the other thing. But Geno's playing well. Don't even ask me about the Patriots anymore. Because I don't know. I feel like they're going to start Mac Jones and then just have a quarterback battle next year. Because people were saying, do you think Mac Jones is going to be the guy? I don't know if he's going to be the guy at this point. I couldn't tell you. I think he's more the guy than Bailey Zappi, but I think Bill likes Bailey Zappi more than Mac because Mac is asking questions on why we do this and that in New England, and Bill doesn't like that. So other than that, Tom's getting old. Atlanta just doesn't want a top pick.
Tom just needs to go find himself a new hot young model.
And he'll probably do that because he's 45 and he looks like he's 27, which sucks.
He needed to probably lay off the plastic surgery a while ago.
Yeah.
I wish you would have.
Yeah, it's kind of clear, dude. We're just saying. But, and I got to say, the 49ers being able to rock the Rams, I wasn't too shocked at just simply because the Rams just look completely out of sync. They don't have enough defense. And, I mean, Leonard Fournette, we got a sighting of him. He actually got like 2 sacks in this game. But Christian McCaffrey doing the amazing things that he can do. I think Kyle Shanahan's really glad to have him and expect a lot more smoke and mirrors plays like that, I'm sure, to be able to help him win some games. So it was a good week. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for the recap. Drew, it's time for the Pick Six. Are you ready to do this, my friend?
Always.
Let's do
Picking
this
NFL games that go horribly wrong week after week.
And by the way, let me preference this again as we've done numerous times.
Are people still yelling at you?
Oh, you want a bet? You know how many people wanted to say how I screwed up their bet? We are not telling you to bet on these teams.
I tell you all the time how he's wrong. Why are you listening to it?
Yes. Why are you listening? What? I'm just kidding. Why are you? If you make these bets and you win, congratulations. We clearly helped you then in some way. But we're not telling you to take these teams. We're saying we will take these teams. I'm not even giving you the cover and the spread on what I would do with that. I'm telling you.
We're not Vegas. We're not a sports book.
No. Not yet.
We don't fully grasp all that goes into sports gambling.
No.
Okay?
I do one thing with David and Tyler where we put all of our money together and bet on college football, and it goes horribly wrong when we can try and win $100,000 because we do like a 16-team parlay or something. That's it. Stop yelling at us. Me in particular, I don't know what to tell you. You didn't win money.
Yeah,
Guess what? Don't bet.
They don't yell at me, just you.
No, I know. I get it. I understand. Listen.
You could stop though.
You could stop, but I do love it. So thank you. I can't wait for these either.
He's
all right.
An attention whore over here. He loves it.
Just a tiny bit.
Get on your corner, Pick Six.
All right, let's do this. All right, first up, we got Chargers at the Falcons. Because
get an attention whore corner.
Yeah,
okay.
Get that.
All right.
You just want to get us going because I'm hungry. Chargers are favored by 3. The over-under is at 49. Still talking food. Who are you picking in this one?
I'm picking a double bacon butter burger with cheese is what I'm picking.
You're killing me. You're killing me.
I'm going to take the Chargers on here. They're going to kick, maybe not kick the crap out of the Falcons,
I was
but
going to say, they've been beating the spread every time.
Every time you look at this team and think, yeah, they're going to lose, they're not a very good team. And they're just right there, right in it.
I don't get it.
Right in it.
I don't know.
I still think they're going to win fairly handily. I'm going to say 10 points.
Okay.
And I'm going to say the over.
Okay. I'll take the Chargers as well. You know what? I'm going to take them by 3. I'll take them on the 3 just because I think Atlanta will find some weird way to get it done. I don't know how, but they will. I think if anything, this proves that I guess Arthur Smith is the right coach. So I guess there goes that. But and then I think this may hit the under because the Chargers haven't really been that impressive offensively. And now what? Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, I think, are both out or at least questionable, I think is the deal. If I'm not mistaken.
Mike Williams is out.
Keenan
Allen is questionable.
Okay, so we may be looking at a Josh Palmer-led receiving core.
DeAndre Carter. Gerald Everett.
Yeah.
I still think there's...
The quarterback's good enough.
There's still points.
Yeah.
Well, plus, what you have Austin Eckler, a good score.
He's their leading receiver right now.
That little prick.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more me. I hate myself for not
drafting him. Or
mistakes made.
Did you trade him away?
No.
Okay.
Mistakes were made.
Oh, okay.
That's all we need.
We'll just leave it at that.
But yeah, they have enough that I think they could still put up points.
Okay. All right. I don't know. Atlanta just surprises us every time.
Plus, Palmer's a deep threat if he's available. Or Carter had been a deep threat at times.
Yeah, absolutely. They got enough there. It's just and Justin Herbert is good enough to get it done. So, all right. Next, we've got Minnesota. They're taking on the Commanders, the under investigation Commanders. They are currently right now. Vikings are 3.5-point favorites. The over/unders at 43.5. Drew, who you see in this one?
Oh, I'm taking the Vikings. Unfortunately, I don't think. Again, losing one of your top corner.
Yeah.
For the Commanders is going to hurt.
That is tough.
When you have to go up against Justin Jefferson.
Yes.
It's going to be tricky.
Absolutely.
So now your other corner is going to go to Justin Jefferson, and that may leave Thielen and their newly acquired T.J. Hockenson.
Yep.
Free.
Although you wonder how much is he going to probably play. I mean,
I think he'll still be in
I think he'll play quite a bit.
They'll have his packages.
Yeah,
it won't play full slot of snaps,
right.
But I think he'll play enough to make an impact.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I'll take the Vikings. I'm going to take them by, I'll say a full touchdown.
Okay.
And I'm going to go over here.
I think I'm going to go the opposite. I think I'll go with Washington by a point. Listen, it's in there. It's on the Washington Commanders field.
Who's rooting for Dan Snyder and his Commanders? Just wait till the emails you get on that one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, you're going to get, why?
This is nothing to do with any of that. It's all about.
Why does Andrew root for Daniel Snyder?
Whatever.
And the Commander.
All right. I like Taylor Heineke and Terry McLaurin. I think they got a good connection. I like the Brian Robinson Jr. and Antonio Gibson kind of combo they're using now.
They've used them very nicely. Complimentary.
It's a good run the ball, kind of off tackle with Robinson Jr. and then more of a passing attack with Gibson. It works for them. It really does. And I think have McKissick.
I think they're still feeling some of that out too, because Brian Robinson's only been here for a handful of games.
He just got back from getting shot in the leg.
Multiple times, I thought.
Multiple times, which, by the way, it has been confirmed that a 17-year-old has been arrested and charged with his shooting. So thank goodness for that. But yeah, he got shot multiple times in the leg, came back to the facility the next day, and found a way to. It's incredible.
It's a tough dude.
Absolutely. So I like the and also that Washington field is not good to quarterbacks. I don't know what it is. Opposing quarterbacks have struggled, and it's probably because that turf is cheap and it's badly made.
But guess who had played there for a while?
That's true too. Yes,
he knows what he's going to. Revenge game.
Yes.
You know he wants to win this.
Absolutely.
Justin Jefferson's going to have like 6 touchdowns.
I'm only giving them 3. So.
Okay.
But I'm giving it a point to the Washington Commanders. It just feel like they're going to end up having something happen in their favor Kurt's going to make a play that ends up costing them the game or something. I don't know. But it's their second loss, so whatever. And I'll say it just hits the over. Just hits the over on it. So, all right, next we've got, because I couldn't find anything else better at that point. It was Raiders versus Jaguars, the worst of the worst. So, Raiders right now favored by 1.5. It almost went even at one point. The over is at 48. Drew, which bad team are you picking on this one?
You know, my cousin's a big Raiders fan. He might actually be watching, might be listening. So I have to apologize because this whole time I was trying to talk him off the ledge, be like, I don't think they're this bad. I don't think they're this bad. I think it's just growing pains. They have so much talent.
Yeah.
They have all the talent to be one of the top tier teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. They suck. They're terrible. They're not good. They've had some bright spots, but they are not a good team.
Few and far in between.
They have not been a good team.
No.
I'm surprised by it, disappointed. I thought they were going to show a hell of a lot more. Now, as the Jaguars, you see them at 2-6.
Yeah.
And I'm encouraged by what I've seen from them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Jaguars win it. I think the Jaguars take it by, I'm going to say a field goal.
Okay.
I'm going to go over again.
Okay.
I'm probably going to regret it. I know it's been the year of unders.
Yeah.
But I think in some of these matchups are set up for some points.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm going to eat my words here like I usually do. The Raiders are not winning the division like I called. It's a far gone dream at this point. I didn't expect Denver to be better than them, but somehow they are. I now have very big questions about Josh McDaniels, even though when we did our hot or not for the Fright Fit, we gave him some pretty good reviews, I would say, on that.
Yeah.
Thought it was actually a pretty perfect fit, and
thought it was going to be a good hire.
Yeah, I got a lot of questions. We'll get into that, but I got
still time. There's still time on
still
this.
time. First year, but I got a lot of questions with them right now.
And again, I'm not watching every snap of Raiders football, it's you see moments, you see highlights. I'm not actually seeing the whole game to see like, okay, are we seeing improvements from play calling week to week, like we've seen with the Bears and the offensive coordinator.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tougher for me to actually get a grasp on what is really going on there.
Yeah, I mean, I will say Josh Jacobs looks like he has had the resurgence from heaven. I mean, if I could...
You don't want to pick up my fifth-year option?
Yeah.
See ya.
I mean, I will say, if Saquon... I think Saquon right now is the front runner for comeback player of the year. I think Geno, again, he never came, but I feel like he certainly should be in there. But I would say Josh Jacobs should also be in that conversation as well. Which is weird, I know to say, but he's looked outstanding thus far. I think I'm going to take the Raiders. I'll take them on the 1.5, though, because I don't think this will be that great of a game for either one. They just both have their own inconsistencies. And I'm going to say this hits the under. But I will say, too, Derek Carr to Devontae Adams looks like it works. They're clicking,
not last week.
But yeah, not last week. But they look like they do have that chemistry. It's just, man, they gotta get Renfro going. Like, they need that number 2 receiver to take the pressure off of Devontae at some point. And Darren Waller, but I dropped him, so I don't know. I know, I'm crazy.
Learning a lot about fantasy football from this guy dropping top players.
He's still questionable. I couldn't do it anymore. I had to move on. I'm sorry. I could still probably get him back anyways at this point. So, all right, we've got the Seahawks at the Cardinals. Arizona is favored by 2. The over-under is at 50.5. Drew, who are you picking with this one, man?
I don't know. Everything says
you got to pick somebody.
Everything says take the Cardinals, but I don't.
But what's your heart say?
But they're not winning.
Okay.
They lost to the Vikings last week.
That's true.
They're 3-5.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the Seahawks.
Okay.
I feel like they've earned this. I feel like they've played with good teams.
Yeah.
And won games that they shouldn't have.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be another one of those games.
Okay.
I feel like their defense has been playing better than the Cardinals has. Their offense has been playing better than the Cardinals have.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Seahawks. I'm gonna take them. I'm gonna take them by 2 in a very close one because I think Arizona's figuring some things out.
Yeah.
Getting DeAndre Hopkins back.
Yes,
Guys
Hopkins
getting a
is
little
back.
more healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I will take them by 2, and I'm gonna go under here.
Okay. I also am going to take the Seahawks. Speaking of coaches I have questions about, I have a lot of questions about Kingsbury at this point. I don't know if he's the guy or not, but again, we'll get into that at a later date. I got some stuff planned for another hot or not, or the hot seat, really. I'm going to take the Seahawks, I think, by a full touchdown on this, and I think it hits the over. I think Kyler and DeAndre have some moments, but I think the Seahawks have just enough to be able to stop them at the right moment. Kyler seems like he's good now for like at least an interception a game. Every once in a while, he's able to kind of get on that groove. So I would think that the Seahawks have that. And again, Tariq Woolen, the guy may be the top corner right now in the league with like Patrick Surtain, Trayvon Diggs, and Saucy Sauce Gardner, man. Still, I like him so much. He's so good. I just wish the Jets were a little bit better with him. But they're still winning, so can't complain too much. All right, next we've got the Rams against the Bucks. The Bucks are favored by 3 because both are not really obviously on their game, and the over-under's at 42.5. Drew, how do you see this one, man?
Again, I don't know. They're both not playing up to potential.
Yeah.
On what they should be.
It's a major Super Bowl hangover for the Rams, it looks like. I mean,
pretty much.
This didn't the hangover didn't even last that long in the movie called The Hangover.
Right. I'm going to go with the Buccaneers here, I think, with Cooper Kupp getting hurt, Higbee getting a little banged up last week, doing nothing on the field.
Yes, nothing.
The Rams don't look right. So last week, Rams looked like they were getting right a little.
Yeah.
And then 1 week later, it's a different story. That's why I
Right.
think they're more of the team that hasn't been good than the opposite. So, again, the Buccaneers have been that too. But I think with some of the injuries, the Rams being banged up, I think that's what's going to ultimately cost them here. I will take Tampa by, I'm going to say 6.
Okay.
And I'm gonna go under here.
Okay. I'm also gonna go with the Bucks. I think the word is that Cooper Kupp right now is questionable, so that's gonna hurt them certainly in their passing game because it doesn't look like Allen Robinson and Matthew Stafford have ever talked to each other at this point. So I'm gonna take the Bucks. I'm gonna say Bucks by 6, and I'll take the over on this because I think the Rams can still score points. And I think Tom's a little ticked off at this point. I don't think he's very happy. And when Tom's angry, he gets in a zone and he can play really well. So, but Mike Evans and those guys have to perform for this to be their game for sure. I mean, there's no doubt about it. All right, and last but not least, it is the Ravens taking on the Saints. The Baltimore Ravens are favored by 3 in this one. The 48 right now is the over-under. Drew, Monday Night Football, how you see this one playing out?
I'm going to go with the Ravens here. They're starting to play a little better, more up to what they're capable of.
Okay.
Again, some injuries are kind of holding them back some.
Yeah.
Hopefully Mark Andrews will play for them. That'll be a big loss. But then they also have a very nice young rookie tight end that came out and had a big game last week for him. Filling in.
Likely from Coastal Carolina.
Got it. A little undersized for the tight end position, but still plays big.
Yeah, he
Plays
does.
big,
And he's
so,
fast.
yeah.
He's fast.
Very fast. Receiver like speed.
Yes.
So I'm going to take Baltimore. I'm going to take them by the 3. The Saints have been playing really well. Kamara's playing out of his mind. Andy Dalton has been the red rifle again.
All right. I guess Nagy was the issue.
Yeah. Yes, he was.
Well, a bigger issue, I should say. I still said he was the issue, just more of the issue.
So, yeah, Andy Dalton's playing some quality football with a lot of injuries to their wide receivers. So I think they keep it close, but I think the Ravens win. And I'm going to go over on this one.
Okay. I think I'm going to take the Saints in this game. And it's nothing against Lamar Jackson. It's just simply that I think the Saints defense has enough to be able to shut them down. They've got fast. I mean, Demario Davis may be one of the best track down spy linebackers I've seen who can stick with a quarterback. Like, he's big but fast enough to stay with a guy like Lamar Jackson. It's
Their defense
impressive
has
to watch.
not played well at all this year.
No,
at all.
He's one of those guys that I feel like you can put him on Lamar and he can stay with him and kind of keep him in the pocket. But I will say Lamar has looked a lot better in the pocket over these last few weeks now. In these last 3 weeks, he's really improved. So I think he's taking those strides to get his money. But we'll talk about that money thing in a different time. But either way, I think the Saints can do just enough to be able to shut them down. Andy Dalton and Alvin Kamara, I think, have enough to keep going and be able to put this team ahead. Obviously, having Michael Thomas would be nice, but apparently he's going to his goal now is to be the Anthony Davis of the NFL. So go be it, man. Make all the money in the world and not play a single meaningful game, I guess, is the Anthony Davis way. So I'll take the Saints. I'll take them by a point, and I will say the under on this game. So that's where I'll sit with that. And that's going to do it for the Pick Six. Obviously, let us know who you're picking. Don't yell at us if you make a bet and you lose on it. Again, we're not experts. That's on you guys. But if you want to yell, go right ahead. It's going to fall on meaningless ears. And that's going to do it for the show here, ladies and gentlemen. As always, we appreciate you guys being here, watching us, listening to us, all that good stuff. And, of course, Drew, I always am glad to have you here, man. It's always good to talk football with you more than anything, especially.
Even when I'm hassling you.
Even when you're hassling me. It's one of the things I enjoy most.
Even when I get the fans to harass you.
Yes, even when you get the fans to harass me.
Cool.
I am somebody who embraces it all, so I understand. But
so don't email him and ask him why he loves Daniel Snyder and the Washington Commanders.
You know what?
Don't do it.
You don't get to plug
Don't do it.
He doesn't get to plug his social media anyway. Now he's going to put me with that guy.
Oh, you can find me right here Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Please.
I'm going to do it anyways.
Yeah, go for it.
Right here on Wednesdays and Thursdays, co-hosting. And then check me out on Instagram at d.will25 and Facebook at Drew Willem.
Absolutely. Guys, make sure to follow him at his Instagram and at his Twitter at d.will25. He will actually be hosting tomorrow where we're going to have some fun NBA talk. To have fun. Maybe.
Looking forward to talking about last night's game.
And they got a game I think tonight, right?
They do.
If I'm not mistaken, they're actually starting right now. So we'll get out of here. I'm Andrew Valentin. I'm at Boom Crew Captain on Instagram. That's where you guys can always find me most of the time, more than anything. If you guys want to find any more of us as well, you guys can find us on the Facebook side. That's facebook.com/Team XBomb Sports, where you can see all of our live streams and everything like that. So make sure to check us out there. You guys can also find us at XBomb sorry, my brain just froze and everything. You guys can also find us on the YouTube side. That is at XBomb Sports on YouTube. That is us streaming every Wednesday and every Thursday, 5:30-ish to 6:30-ish. I know we went over, but, time is what time is. So make sure to hit us up there as well. Find us on our social media as well, on Instagram and Twitter at XBomb Sports, where you guys can find us all the time. Like us and follow our pages for all the updates and everything. And you guys have any questions or comments, you guys can email us at xvsportsofficial@gmail.com, where obviously Drew has been pushing the buttons to get you guys to send all your hated stuff at me and everything. So please bring it on. I will take it. Let's go. I want to hear all your little comments and everything. So please, again, it's xvsportsofficial@gmail.com. Next, we move on to the podcast. We have Blow the Whistle at sportstownchicago.com every Monday, 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time. We have the TV side, which is TBD right now while we take the time off. Don't worry about it. We'll tell you guys when we do come back. If you're going down south in Illinois, make sure to check out 94.3 WMKR, where our boy Brandon Januska is doing his thing on the radio side at the 90s hour at 9 request hour. For Genuine Radio. You guys can also check out his stuff as Baseball Banter with Brandon. You can find it on Spotify. He gives all the needs and necessary things on baseball. You guys can also check out our other favorite person on Spotify, Money Motivation with Hannah B. It's a wonderful podcast that gets you motivated and pepped up throughout your day. You can also listen to her at 102.3 XLC, The Afternoon Drive, as well. She's doing her thing 3 to 7 p.m. She just finished up. You can also hear her at 96.7 The Star with our very own Eddie Volkman as well. And, of course, too, if you want to check out any more content as well, you can check out our boys at The Parlay. Take a swing with them. It's Tony Lopez, former professional boxer and of course, Chicago Bull, Kendall Gill. Please, Jake Paul, just fight a boxer.
Bum.
You bum.
Bum.
Fight a real boxer for the love of God. I'm not saying fixed, but I will say Anderson Silva tested you, man. Fight a real boxer.
You bum.
God. All right. Check them out at theparlay.com. And finally, if you need any of your fantasy football needs, any tips or tricks, make sure to go to the Fake Football Guys on YouTube. They go live every Tuesday, 3 o'clock p.m. You can check them out, Fake Football Guys. We did one this past episode on the trade deadline. Check it out, guys. Fake Football Guys here on YouTube. And that's going to do it for us here, ladies and gentlemen. And as always, thank you so much for watching and listening. And as always, much love. Peace out, Boom Crew.